So let's talk about how we find the fair share value for each player. So recall that there's a formula for finding the fair share value, and that is to take the total value of the goods and divide by the total number of players. And what we want to keep in mind is that when goods are being shared fairly among players, an individual player has to receive at least the fair share value. Not the exact fair share value, but at least the fair share value. So let's look at how this works. So here's an example you've seen before. We've got 4 players, Amy, Bob, Charlie, and Debbie, who are sharing cake. And suppose that the cake is divided into 4 slices, and so the slices are S1, S2, S3, S4. And these numbers below here tell us how each of the players value the different slices of cake. So we can just kind of see here how much Amy values slice 1, slice 2, slice 3, slice 4, and so forth. But let's suppose we want to find the fair share value for each of these players. Well, the formula says we have to find the total value of the goods to each player and divide by the total number of players. So let's first add up the value of everything, or all the slices of cake, to Amy to see what the total value of these goods are. If you add up 3 plus 5 plus 5 plus 2, you'll get $15. And likewise here for Bob, if we add up all these values, we'll get $18. And for Charlie, if we add up all these values, we'll get $12. And for Debbie, if we add up all of these values, we'll get $10. Now, we've got the total value of the goods to each player. Now we have to divide by the total number of players. Well, how many players are there? Amy, Bob, Charlie, and Debbie, that's 4 players. So each of these total value numbers have to be divided by 4. Divided by 4, divided by 4 to get the fair share value, divided by 4. So when we divide by 4, the final values that we get for fair shares, 15 divided by 4 is $3.75. 18 divided by 4 is $4.50. And 12 divided by 4 is $3. And 10 divided by 4 is $10.50. So here are the fair share values for each of the 4 players. But now let's see which slices would be fair slices for each of the players to receive. So what we see here are the calculations that we found earlier, the total values and the fair share values. But now we want to use what we found to answer these questions. So which of the 4 slices are fair shares to Amy? Well, to figure that out, we have to look at what Amy's fair share value is, 3.75, and then we're going to look at each of these slices and see which are at least this value of 3.75 or $3.75. So for Amy, would slice 1 be fair? No, because it's not at least $3.75. Would slice 2 be fair? Yes. Would slice 3 be fair? Yes, because $5 is definitely at least $3.75. But would S4 be fair? No, because that's $2. So which of the following slices would be fair for Bob? Take a look. Bob's fair share value is $4.50, and it looks like all of these pieces are worth at least $4.50. So we could say that slice 1, slice 2, slice 3, and slice 4 are fair shares to Bob. Which of the following are fair shares to Charlie? Well, his fair share value was $3. Let's check it out. That piece would be fine. This piece would also be fine because it's at least $3. These two would not be fair because they're not at least $3. So I think you've got the idea, so I'll give you a few minutes. We'll look at Debbie. Are any of these pieces fair shares for her? Seems like the only one that's at least $2.50 is slice number 1. So that's kind of how fair shares works in that example. Let's go on and look at another example here. Here we have 4 grandchildren who are going to share these 3 items, the cabin, the Rolls-Royce, and the Picasso from their grandmother's estate. So if we want to find a fair share for Art, according to our formula, what do we have to do first? Find the total value of the goods to Art. So we add all of these up, 220, 4,000, 280,000. If we add them up, we should get 540,000. So what's now, if we want to find the fair share for Art, what do we have to do with this total? We have to divide the total by the total number of players. So let's take that total value, 540,000, divided by how many players do we have in this case, or how many people are sharing? 1, 2, 3, 4. And so the fair share value for Art should be $135,000 if we take this 540,000 divided by 4. So would it be fair for Art to get the Picasso painting? Well, $280,000 is a lot more than $135,000, so that's at least that. So yes is the answer to that. It would be fair for Art to get the Picasso. Now let's look at Carla and do the same thing. Let's suppose we want to find a fair share value for Carla. Well, first we have to find the total number of goods for Carla, or for this player. If we add up 211,000, 47,000, 234,000, we should get 492,000. But to find her fair share, we have to take that 492,000 and divide it by the number of players, which we know is 4. And so her fair share value is $123,000. So if these 4 grandchildren were sharing these things fairly, would it be fair for Carla to get the Rolls-Royce? Well, the Rolls-Royce is only worth $47,000 to Carla. That's not at least her fair share value of $123,000. So no, it would not be fair for Carla to get the Rolls-Royce. Let's look at a few other examples.